and welcome to Round Robin. I'm Robin McCormick in Marketing and Outreach for the City of Hampton, and today I have a really special guest that I'll be talking to. Her name is Nancy Shields, and she has worked for the police department for 44 years. Good morning, and I understand you don't really want me to call you Mrs. Shields, you'd rather be called Miss Nancy.
Right.
Now, why is that?
Well, all the kids, they call me Miss Nancy, ever since I've been a school guard for 40-some years.
Now, how long is that?
Be 44 years in August.
Oh my gosh, so that means I'm not very good at math, but you would have started with the police department then in the late 60s, right?
Right.
And were your duties, what were your original duties? You didn't start out as a crossing guard, I understand.
Before I was a crossing guard, I was a nurse for the late Dr. Emanuel Greenspoon, which was the old Mary Magdalene Hospital.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so one day I was walking my daughter to school, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. So I applied for it and got the job, been there ever since.
Now, you've pretty much always been at one school, is that right?
29 years on Kecoughtan for Armstrong School.
You know, my children went to Armstrong, and I know that it's a really special place and a really tight community. So I'm going to guess that you are seeing the children and maybe even the grandchildren of some of the people you first helped across the street.
I see children. It's half children that's got children.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Now, do they know you? Do the kids say, hi, Miss Nancy?
Yes, ma'am. I have some that still come to see me.
So these are kids who don't necessarily go to elementary school anymore, but that come back and visit you?
These kids that come to see me are now married and have kids.
Oh my gosh. So tell me how that feels when somebody comes back and visits you after years and years.
Oh, it just feels great. I can just see them when I used to cross them, and they don't look like they've changed any, you know. And they bring the children to come see me.
Oh, that's
And they call me Miss Nancy.
So that's sweet. Now you said, when you had a daughter of your own who was going to Armstrong.
She was 9. She's 55 years old now. She works for Healthy Start.
So she works for the city also?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And she had a daughter?
In New York, yes. I have a granddaughter.
Now, did your granddaughter go to Armstrong also?
It was 3 generations. I went to Armstrong, my daughter went to Armstrong, and my granddaughter went to Armstrong.
That really shows the strength of A, your family, and B, the community connection with that school.
Right.
Now, in addition, you picked up some other duties for the police department. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What else have you done over your 44-year career?
Well, I was a patrol service officer for a few years.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, patrol service officer, ride the police car, drive police car. If there's any accidents or lights out, we have to go direct traffic until they're fixed. And we just, you know, do different things, you know.
Now, if I can say this, I hope it's not good. You're not a real big person. And so to imagine you standing in the middle of an intersection, stopping traffic, I mean, has that ever been scary for you?
No. When we had that real bad hurricane, that storm we had, we were out on Mercury, all lights were out. We got out there in direct traffic, everybody was real nice. They'd come by and hand us water and whatever, you know. No, it's not scary at all.
That's great, because, I mean, you know, you have to really be forceful sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess you're used to that. You said you also do some work with the lockup and fingerprints.
I do 3 mail runs for the city a day. I do one in the morning at 6 o'clock, then I do a school, then I come back in and do 2 more mail runs, go back in the afternoon, do a school, and I come in and do copies for them if they need copies done, or take their places while they go for lunch.
Now I'm going to ask a really personal question. Are you going to mind if I ask you your age?
I'm 82 years old.
And you are still working, and it sounds like you're not just working a couple hours a day, you're working...
I work 8 hours a day, and I enjoy every minute of it.
So, at your age, you probably have Social Security, and you could have retirement benefits, but you are actually choosing to keep working.
I do.
And why is that?
Well, I had open heart surgery in '88, and I have to walk, so this is to exercise for me, and I, you know, enjoy it.
It really says something about how you feel about your job when you are continuing to work at a point when you really don't have to.
Well, I look forward every morning of getting up and seeing that those kids get to school safely, back home safely. I enjoy that.
Kecoughtan is a pretty busy street. You've got 4 lanes in each direction.
Well, now I'm not at Kecoughtan. I'm on Grimes and Andrews.
Oh, you're not at Armstrong anymore.
No, I'm at
Grimes
Cary Elementary.
Okay. That's a pretty busy, both of those, Grimes and Andrews are busy streets. So have you gotten to know, how long have you been at Cary?
I've been there a little over 10 years.
And do you know the families there? Are you starting to make those same sort of connections?
Well, I'm on Grimes, so I'm actually not in front of the school, so I, don't get to see the parents, but I have come, just, in touch with some of them. They'll stop and tell me what a good job I'm doing, and I appreciate that. Now,
how has the job of crossing guard changed over these 44 years? What did you see, when you were first doing it, and how are things different now? Is there more traffic?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, it's got to be a little tougher.
Yes.
Do you find that as many kids, I imagine when you started, we really were talking about neighborhood schools and a lot of people who walk to school. Do you see as many people walking now, or is it more kids ride the bus or get dropped off?
Well, I don't have as many kids in the morning, but I do have quite a few in the afternoon. Evidently, they get rides in the morning, but I have quite a few in the afternoon.
And do you have much of a chance to talk to the kids?
Oh yeah. They're in Christmas time when we go back to school. They come, Miss Nancy, they like to tell me what they got for Christmas. And, yeah.
What are there any special kids you've had relationships with, or families you've had relationships with that come back, or that really stick in your mind as somebody you made a connection with?
Well, I don't know how to...
Okay. Are the kids real affectionate and open? Do they come and give you hugs or anything at the end of the school year?
Oh yes. Like yesterday was dress up day, and they come and show me what they've got on, and they'll have high heels, and I'll say to them, "Don't you have some shoes in there that you could put on until you get to school? You cannot walk.
You can't walk in
those high heels." And they'll turn around and say, "Oh, thank you, Miss Nancy," and I help them put other shoes on, or they'll come to school sometimes with their shoes not tied, and I'll help them tie their shoes, Or,
well, that's nice, and that's a safety issue too. You don't want kids walking around with shoelaces that they can trip over.
And sometimes I'll walk down and meet them halfway and walk back with them. They enjoy that.
Well, that's great. It sounds like a really, special connection.
Yes, it is.
Now, 44 years is a long time to work basically in one department. I mean, you haven't moved around with the city, you've done different things within the police department, but how do you describe the Hampton Police Department and what it's like to work there?
Well, I enjoy it. I go in and, when I finish my school, I go in and see everybody, and it's like, family, and like I said, I go in and run copies for them, and do different errands inside the police department for them. I go from headquarters safety building to City Hall 3 times a day.
I know I see you in City Hall in the elevator a lot doing the mail runs.
Yeah.
So is it sort of your second family?
It is. It is.
And were they there for you? I know you mentioned the open heart surgery and the health issue.
Yes, they certainly were.
Now, 88, you could have retired after that point pretty much, right? You would have had most of your time in, but you really chose not to.
I did. But we were hired as permanent part-time, so you don't get to retire from the police department. You just
it's not the same, right? It's not the same benefit structure. How much longer do you envision working? Do you have a plan, or?
My plan is I'm going on 44, and I hope I get to 45, and then I'm going to come out. Maybe take a cruise or whatever. I don't know. Enjoy the rest of my life.
That sounds like,
I don't know.
That sounds like a wonderful plan. Well, let me ask too, do you have any tips? I mean, an awful lot of us are not going to make it to 82. What do you do to take such good care of yourself that you are still not only around and alert, but actively working 8 hours a day at this age?
Well, I am the type that I just love to be out, meet people and talk, you know, and you know, just get out, you know. I enjoy that.
So really staying involved
Yes,
and keeping
ma'am.
connections and making new connections.
Take care of yourself, yeah. Do something. Don't be a couch potato.
Right. Did you change your lifestyle after the heart incident?
No,
or
I didn't.
You'd always
No,
been pretty active.
Yep. See ya.
Great. Well, is there anything else you want to add that I haven't asked you about?
Well, like you know, when we have Bay Days, I work the traffic, or any of the traffic, like 4th of July at Fort Monroe, we work the traffic.
Oh, right.
And I enjoy doing that. The jazz, I work the traffic.
I bet that's fun. That is
It is a lot
That's an
of fun.
engaged, involved, very fun crowd.
Well, we look forward because you meet the same old people that come every year and they recognize you, you know, and so, are you going to be here next year? I said, if the Lord's willing, I will be.
That's really nice. I mean, you're not just directing traffic, you are getting to know people and engaging with people. And I think that's one of the things that makes you and many people who do your job special, because it isn't just doing the job, it is helping people and keeping people safe.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming by and sharing your story with us today. I think it's inspiring, and I think I really admire what you do and how you do it.
Well, like I said, I enjoy every morning of it. I can't wait till Christmas is over so I can get back to school and see the kids.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Nancy.
You're
and
welcome.
I'm sure that all of the kids and the kids' parents and the other, you know, generations of kids that you have helped across the street will enjoy seeing this. So thank you very much, and come back for the next episode of Round Robin.